This is the Daily Wrestling News for February 23rd, 2021. We are powered by the Eastern Observer. My name is Ryan Joy, and I am coming to you live from Minutes to Bell Time Studios on the beautiful Treasure Coast of the Sunshine State. And I am joined today by Travis, who is wearing a Sunshine State shirt today.
I wish I was there. It's still a lot of snow on the ground, though it did melt a lot yesterday, so I can't complain. It's that nice packable snowball snow. So it's maybe thinking about all going away, but it's very dark out there again today, so probably not quite as sunny as my shirt for sure.
I also have one on.
I see. Nice. Very. Hashtag Florida Wrestling. That's very appropriate.
That'll be available on the Minutes to Bell Time shop sometime soon.
Very nice. There's a lot of opportunity there.
Little tease. Travis, you're one of the only people who doesn't jam out during my little intro video. John Smith, I can always see him back there playing the drums, and even the guests when they come on, I see them headbanging a little bit. You just no sell it.
So it's funny. I almost air guitared for the first time today because it's starting to grow on me a little bit, but I held back because I know you can see me, so I called it off.
Well, today's agenda, we have the ridiculously random non-wrestling audience needs to know you better question of the day. We are going to talk news from last night's Raw because there is some. New Japan Castle Attack this week in AEW, which includes a whole bunch of shows. You've got the women's tournament last night, Dark tonight, Dynamite tomorrow night, and then you have another women's tournament thing on Bleacher Report this weekend. So lots of AEW to cover. And then let's see, news and trivia. So,
sounds good.
Let's roll.
Yeah.
And today's ridiculously random non-wrestling audience needs to know you better question of the day is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Pick'em, a place where you can join or host a Pick'em league to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. And I will sound a bit like a broken record, but go to ProWrestlingPick'em.com right now, sign up so that you can get used to the platform ahead of the WrestleMania season, which is the turnover. It's fun. It's free. And like I said, you can play against your friends and show them you're better at picking, wrestling matches than they are.
Or the universe. You can play against the universe too.
You can, yes. Which will be your friends.
We'll see.
So, Travis, your ridiculously random question is, you have the opportunity to be a sidekick for either Batman or Superman. Who do you pick?
Batman, of course.
Boom, just like that.
He gets the ladies. He's a lot more interesting. Superman feels like a bit of a loner. Like nobody really wants to hang out with him too much, and he's invincible. So, like, what do you have that's relatable for him? I'll go Batman. It's more fun and exciting. He's got better villains.
He has a great costume, though. Superman.
I guess it's just
his costume is
stupid home world. Like they all wore that crap. Like it's not even good.
His costume, Superman, he puts a costume on to hide from everybody. So he goes, that's his costume.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, moving on. Of course, Batman, Dark. We'll get to Dark later. Let's talk Raw now.
Yes.
So Raw from last night. The Miz, as we speak, is going on 48 hours as WWE champion, and it looks like he's going to at least last 1 week.
Sadly. Last
night's Raw was about building up Bobby Lashley to challenge him next week. And it started in the opening sequence of the show. Lashley came down, MVP came down, give us our match. That was the agreement. Miz, of course, backpedals because that's what he does in his situation. Lashley gives him an hour. So we come back at the top of the second hour, and Lashley's like, give me my match. And Miz says, I need more time. So Braun Strowman comes out, and Braun Strowman wants a match. And so then Braun Strowman and Lashley are fighting over who gets the match. And then Shane McMahon, Adam Pearce decide, let's make them fight. And if Braun wins, then he can get added to the match next week where Lashley is actually getting a title match. And then Lashley walks all over Braun Strowman in the main event.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I can remember Braun Strowman when he came in as part of the Wyatt family, and I've never seen anybody manhandle him that way. He did. We were talking about it pre-show. He got the Big Show treatment. Like it was a 4-minute match, and Lashley just looked invincible in it. And I'm glad. I like this version of Bobby Lashley. Gosh, how far that character has come since the Rusev wedding and stuff like that. I mean, this is a great presentation. You've built up this super, super strong guy after kind of having a good, long United States title run with him. An MVP on the side to be able to talk when he can't. Although I'll say this, his promo was perfectly fine.
Yep.
And it used to be something that they kind of went away from him because early on it was just like some nonsense with his voice not being great and so on and so forth. But he's been doing some work in that area too. I mean, that could be a full package kind of guy. Like it certainly was the gripe about him, not having the best promo skills before. But I thought last night he was great.
Yeah, and he doesn't really need to say that much because then
No.
when he does say something, it's more impactful.
Absolutely, less is more with him for sure.
So, this WWE Championship, Drew McIntyre was not on the show last night. And okay, I think that was okay because it allowed us to establish Lashley away from Drew McIntyre. But the question comes, Lashley's got this title match next week. Will Drew show up there and delay things further? Or do we actually see Lashley come away with the championship and then we have a Drew Lashley program?
So both ideas are interesting. I don't think we're going to see 2 weeks without Drew McIntyre on Raw. Although I will say this, as far as Raws go, I thought Raw last night was pretty interesting. I didn't love everything about it. But as far as a Raw post what I would say an average pay-per-view with an interesting finish, I thought Raw was pretty good. And to say that without Drew being on the show is a rare thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Drew's got to get his comeuppance against Bobby. It's certainly more compelling if one or the other of them has a title when that happens. But I guess it doesn't need to be a title match either. If they go some direction with Miz and I've got giant Drew McIntyre against giant Bobby Lashley in like a settle the score match, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of weird in the sense of talking about Bobby Lashley as like a new star, but it seems like they're going next level with him. 18 years he's been a wrestler or something like that, but it does feel like now at this point they are going to push him upper in the card. And establishing him as such without having to deal with Drew McIntyre having a match on the card and somebody kind of overshadowing him, that could also be part of the objective there.
Well, and my hope too is we bring Bobby in, who's just like you said, Bobby's been around forever. He's wrestled everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a big giant dude his entire time. So the fact that he's getting his due here a little bit is great. But we've got some sizable men underneath, depending on what they want to do too. So it's not like, okay, we get done with this program with Drew, and we immediately have to feed him to like AJ Styles or something like that. Like they could, if they want to get T-Bar out there, which who knows, maybe we'll see something like that with this retribution thing going on. Dominic Dijakovic can go. Keith Lee is another one. We got Karrion Kross kind of waiting in the weeds down there. Damian Priest, right? So now you've got big guys, which are also athletic. What was impressive with Lashley last night was even though he's got a Lesnar build, and not that Lesnar's not athletic because he's certainly athletic, the drop kicks and the different wrestling moves and the ways that he had to do his style because he's had to wrestle longer matches than these just quick squash matches normally means that he can actually go a 10, 12, 15-minute match if he needs to as well. So it's good to see him in that spot, and WWE should be fortunate that they've got somebody that they can come behind Drew without having to build somebody up in a fast program to say, oh, this isn't believable. Lashley's just looked strong.
He does. And it's nice that the whole Hurt business is there too. So they have a stable wrestling on top, which is
and it seems like they've gone away from what we thought might have happened a couple of weeks ago, where there was this nonsense going back and forth between whether they were going to break up and the tag team issues and stuff like that. That seems like they put that on the back burner, at least for now. And I'm happy for that. I think we need a longer run with this stuff because it's good.
Yeah, and the thing with that is they planted that seed. So sometime, a year from now or 6 months from now or next week, they can always come back to it and say, oh, you messed up again, and now I'm fed up, and they can reference all that stuff. It's all there.
Which, you know what? I'll be thrilled if they do that because it's probably one of their weaker points is going back to touching on a story thing that they set up. So yeah, when that does get paid off, that'll be cool.
So the Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, they got a win over Lucha House Party 5 minutes last night. Some other, though, interesting things that happened on the show last night. Almost We talked about AJ Styles a little earlier. AJ got a win over Ricochet in 3.5 minutes, but almost after the match, got in the ring and lifted Ricochet up in the air and slammed him down. So it's not the first time we've seen Omos get physically involved, but it felt like the first time that he did like a wrestling move in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, he actually showed his force and he was involved rather than just grabbing somebody's foot or ripping the door off the elimination chamber. So I think this is definitely setting up him being more involved and maybe a tag match or something like that. I don't think we're going to see a Ricochet versus Omos feud.
I hope not.
That's not the first person that I would go to with him to work, probably. Again, I think the tag with AJ against some kind of experienced people in the ring is probably a good place to take him so he can get carried through a couple of matches, because he's about as green as it comes, 18 months or so at the Performance Center. So but yeah, it was nice to see him slowly transition to that, and it's been a slow build. It's not like they threw him in there and made him be this machine out of the gates. Like, it's been week after week after week of a little bit more and a little bit more. So it's nice that they've handled him that way.
Yeah. It'd be an interesting tag team situation, and we'll see where it goes from there. But
right.
On the women's division side of things, we had a bunch of women's division stuff on the show, but the thing that really stuck out was that Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair promo in the backstage area, where Charlotte just lit into Ric, and Ric tried to defend himself. He said, "I see a lot of potential in Lacey, and I was just trying to be, push the women, into the main event, and I want to be around the Raw title." And Charlotte said, "Well, you have seen potential in a lot of blondes over the years." So Charlotte really stuck it to him and told him to go home.
Yeah, and I mean, for as much as I love Ric, there's a whole lot of Charlotte's words that kind of ring true with me as a fan too. Ric is the kind of guy where I wish there was a less is more. If you want to drag him out before a big four and get him involved in some kind of a storyline, I'm okay with that. But having him come in week after, he's just, the sad. He feels like the sad professional that just can't let it go. He can't hang it up. He can't get away from that. And they're really leaning into that. And Charlotte got emotional, and she went to a different level on a promo than I think a lot of us have seen. Because the take on Charlotte is she's a cyborg. She's obviously an athletic freak, but boy, her promos suck. And I mean, she was in tears and her makeup was running during that one. So, if anybody's going to bring it out, obviously it's a conversation with Dad for sure. So yeah, very good promo. Certainly one of the high spots of the night.
Where I think they could use Ric Flair is if they had Ric Flair manage Andrade.
Oh,
that
sure.
Guy needs a mouthpiece. He's kind of in the family, so to speak, not married in, but and who knows where he is. We haven't seen him in 6 months.
Yeah, it depends on how kayfabe they want to go. I think it would be interesting if you saw Charlotte and Ric patch things up, and Ric was with Andrade, and they were all heel. That would look interesting to me for sure. I think he's better as a heel manager for sure, to kind of show Andrade the dirtiest thing. I don't know. The dirt sheets have not been real favorable with Andrade's future.
Nope.
So that could be weighing on Charlotte's mind a little bit as well. Because we've seen Angel Garza, 2 weeks in a row now, and it's been a long time since we've seen Andrade, even in a squash. So
yeah. Now, still in the women's division, we got a couple of hype videos for Rhea Ripley. Not one, multiple hype videos for Rhea Ripley coming soon to Raw, which is exciting because I'm looking at right away. You have Rhea versus Charlotte too. You go Rhea versus Asuka. You can go Charlotte versus Asuka. But there's a lot of options there that Rhea brings into the table. Or you do a triple threat with all of them. I don't know.
So the other person that Rhea is interesting for is Nia Jax. Because it's not very often that you see a competitor that get in the ring. Usually she towers over and crushes these girls, and standing toe-to-toe with her, that's somebody that can actually be a force. I assume that she's going to come out as face. I don't see her coming out as heel. They certainly have no shortage of heels. But yeah,
because, Rhea took the belt off Shayna before Shayna went to the main roster. So
correct. Yeah, there's a bunch of matches there, and by the time that Becky gets up and running, I think we're all kind of assuming that she's going to be Raw, but maybe she'll be SmackDown with Seth. I don't know. I think those two being on opposite programs is probably a better idea. But there's a lot of Rhea will be a nice fresh face to have on that roster.
The Randy Orton angle advanced as well last night. He started doing a promo and saying that he just can't get past Alexa Bliss. He's kind of buried the thoughts of the Fiend in the back, but now he's dealing with Alexa Bliss, and all of a sudden he starts coughing up black substance. that took me straight back to 1992-93 Papa Shango period.
Yeah, it's a very similar look. I'd be curious to know what creative was like going into Elimination Chamber, because I'm wondering if they just couldn't get on the same page as far as how they wanted to present that Elimination Chamber and figure it out. So Randy took a quick exit in that match. Like, to me, he could have been exiting with the blood, with the black stuff coming out of his mouth, and her kind of off to the side or something like that. Why that had to be waited until tonight and it couldn't be part of that last match seems peculiar to me, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Are we going to see Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton at Mania? Doesn't seem interesting to me, but we'll see.
Well, we will. Okay, also on Raw, Naomi and Lana got a win over Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. Quick match. Sheamus beat Jeff Hardy. Damian Priest got a win over Angel Garza, as you kind of indicated. The New Day beat Mace and T-Bar, 2.5 minutes. And the new United States champion, Matt Riddle, defeated John Morrison, 10:49. That was the first match of Raw. Anything else really important that we didn't touch on?
Ali kind of blew up at the Retribution guys in the ring. Whether that's significant or not, it certainly felt like it was. Mia Yim was back with Retribution too, so that was nice to see. As far as how that ends up playing out, I guess we'll see. I assume that we're going to go back to the New Day and continue to have another match against them next week with some other combination of the two. Maybe Ali's going to jump in the ring and show them how to do it. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, if you want to get Dijakovic established, I was waiting for him to rip that mask off and punch Ali in the face.
Stupid Bane mask. Come on.
All right, let's transition to New Japan Pro Wrestling. They have 3 to 4 big shows. I guess they have one house show with a title match, and then they have 3 shows going into the weekend. So this Thursday, El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru are going to challenge El Fantasmo and Taiji Ishimori for the IWGP Junior tags. That's Thursday.
So that's a rematch of those titles. And this is all due to Hiromu Takahashi getting injured, ripped, torn left pec, which Takahashi's coming back after a neck injury that kept him out for a little over a year before. Yeah. So this is a rematch of the title. Good on Suzuki-gun. Yeah. Take the opportunity to jump in there when there's a spot, and we'll see. In this, this match has been great. Sorry, Bushi. That sucks. I feel bad because Bushi. I think this could have been an opportunity where they did change the tags. And I'm not sure. Maybe LIJ is cursed because between Takahashi's injury and the Naito injury, it's certainly rough. We'll talk about the junior heavy further down.
Yep. But before we go even into the weekend, I guess Friday night is technically the weekend, I suppose. But Friday night, Kenta challenges Jon Moxley for the United States Championship, IWGP United States Championship. Friday night, 10 p.m., New Japan Strong on njpwworld.com. 999 yen per month for that subscription.
Yeah, so this will be a good one. We have been waiting forever for this to happen. I think this is going to have some implications in other places as well. Maybe it's just Kenta pinning Moxley and Moxley going away. This will be the first Japanese wrestler to win the U.S. title. The U.S. title, for those of you that don't know, has only been established since 2017. However, you'll know the people that have carried it. We've got Kenny Omega, Jay White, Juice Robinson, Cody, Moxley, Archer, and that's it, folks. 2 of them have carried it twice. So 2017, all been Gaijin or foreigners that have carried this title belt. So Kenta would be the first one to bring it home to the small island.
Even though he lives in Florida.
Even though he lives in Florida. So he'll bring it to Florida where they're going to have the match, I'm sure. But yeah, this has been a long build up, and hopefully we see a good match and it pays off. I think they're going to give him a good amount of time because there's only 2 other matches on the card, and one's a mega match and the other one's kind of a smaller singles match. So they'll probably go for a good 15, I bet.
Yeah. So it should be good. Moxley has been carrying that belt around too, and he's been referenced on AEW as the IWGP United States champion. So AEW is building him up as such as well. So that's nice to see. And if he retains, then I think they'll have more collaboration with New Japan. And if he loses, maybe they'll have more collaboration with New Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the big match on Friday night. Then we go into Saturday and Sunday, Castle Attack Night 1 and Night 2. Castle Attack Night 1 is full of singles matches. The top 5 matches on the card are all singles matches. Yoshihashi versus Tonga Loa and Hiroki Goto versus Tama Tonga. Those are singles matches that preview their tag title match the next night.
Yeah, and all these are like grudge matches for the last 4 or 5 weeks where people have just been blasting each other. Specifically, even in the tag matches or the 6-man matches, these people have some blood debt that they're going to take out in these matches. So they should be good, strong singles matches.
Toru Yano is defending the KOPW Provisional Championship in a strap match where you are strapped together, just like we saw in MLW a couple of weeks ago. However, the terms to win are you have to remove all the turnbuckles, typical Toru Yano style thing. So,
yeah, 74% of the votes on Twitter. It was overwhelming that this was going to be the match that we were going to see, which I think when they announced it, everybody said, let's throw this extra wrinkle into it. So it should be interesting. The first kind of real spotlight match Chase Owens has kind of had since he's come back. So, probably a fun night out for both of them, really.
Yes. Yeah, and, the Toru Yano match is always a comedy match. And
we'll see all kinds of nonsense that'll happen for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, probably be hand sanitizer in Chase Owens' eyes or something like that.
Yeah, anything could happen. Mask over his eyes and duct taped or something. We'll see.
Tomohiro Ishii versus Jay White. Let me tell you how this match is going to go. Bell is going to ring. Jay White will roll out. We will spend 5 to 10 minutes trying to get Jay White in the ring.
Well, he's strategically looking at angles and different ways that he could potentially approach his opponent. You got to take your time. He's only been in the ring 16 times.
For the first while, Ishii will drop him on his head a whole bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Ishii will just about hit his brain buster, but then Jay White will have some crazy way to get out of it, counter it into Blade Runner, and he'll win the match. Somewhere's in there, Gato will also use his, presence will be used to cheat. So that's how
I don't know. Sometimes the camera angles in the Jay White match is a little bit odd, and I think they kind of clip in some of the Gato stuff. Tomohiro Ishii, occasionally, he's got a small neck, so you can't necessarily get good angles on him and stuff like that. He's tough to hit the Blade Runner on because you don't have anything really to grab onto. We'll see what happens. It might go that way. It might not. Maybe they'll start off like high flying.
Horribly conflicted. These are like your 2 favorite New Japan guys.
Oh, it's awful for me. I love Ishii and I love Jay.
Like a face.
I love Ishii because he is just such a bull in the ring and just insane, like the no-sell guy. He will be the never open weight champion for me for the rest of my life. And Jay is just the greatest New Zealand heel in the planet and just a real treat. But yeah, he may jump out of the ring in the beginning. We'll see.
I mean, if I were to bet, I feel like my odds were really good.
He might do this. Whoa, let's slow down. There's a chance. We'll see.
Main event is Kazuchika Okada versus Evil. Not terribly interesting to me, to be honest, but it will probably be a 30-minute match. So
nope, they've been running Evil and Jay White out a little bit more the last couple of weeks in the build, which has been good to see because they've kind of been 2 men on separate islands. It's felt like, and I think there could be a good story of who's the leader. But Evil really hasn't exerted himself all that much, and Jay White obviously got a ticker tape parade when he came back. So if there was ever going to be some kind of a schism or a fissure in that, I think that's where we'll see it come from, Evil and White. But they've been tagging together, and they've been in the ring together and stuff like that. I think it's been good for both of them because they can give each other.
Sort it out.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. He's a great mediator.
So night 2. Castle Attack Night 2, that's on Sunday morning. Actually starts midnight Sunday. So you can actually stay up late and watch this one. Let's see. So there's 4 advertised title matches right now. We talked about GOD versus Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. That's going to be the tag match. Yoshihashi is the perennial title match loser, even though he actually is currently a 6-man champion. Hiroshi Tanahashi is defending against Great O'Khan, the Never Openweight Championship. This could be the rise of Khan, I think. It's Tana's first defense, so that never bears well for the challenger, but it's not unheard of.
Tana's first defense. I don't know if Tana needs to carry a title ever. Like he is.
Well, his ring gear is built so that it has a slot for the title. But
yeah, I mean, he's carried a lot of titles and stuff like that. For as bad as the Empire's been drubbed, boy, it would be nice to give them a belt and a reason to celebrate. So yeah, I'm hopeful for Great O'Khan, and not that I dislike Tanahashi. He's
go Ace. You were going to play Garrett guitar earlier. You told me already.
He's very nice. Go Ace, but go off the screen with a defeat.
Hiromu Takahashi is supposed to defend the IWGP Junior Championship against El Phantasmo. Hiromu is out with the torn pec. We know that.
Hiromu's out, and I'll tell you who my pick is, and this is going to come as a surprise to Ryan and the rest of the audience. I'm going to pick Kushida. And the reason I'm going to pick Kushida is the last 2 times that the title belt has had to be dropped due to injury. Ibushi's injury, and the last time with Hiromu's injury, it was Kushida that was in part of the match. Now, he lost the match when Omega had to, or when Devitt had to fight him when Omega went down, but he won the match when Hiromu went down. So yeah. I think the natural opponent for ELP is Kushida, and I promise you this, NXT won't even notice he's not there.
Okay. You know what? Maybe. We'll see. So I don't know. I don't actually know if they're going to strip Hiromu of the title. Technically, if he's gone for less than 180 days, that's the IWGP rule. However, they don't always abide by that. Sometimes they let it go longer. Jon Moxley. Sometimes they strip him right away, showing. So we'll see. Main event: Kota Ibushi defending the Intercontinental Championship against Tetsuya Naito. Naito currently down with injury. He's supposed to make his return tomorrow. So he's going to be operating by a thread as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch tomorrow just because I want to see if I can pick up on any hitches or anything like that, because I think we're both in agreement here, I think the plan was to get the IC title away from Ibushi with Naito so they can start moving that. If Naito's got a bum wheel, maybe it isn't, or maybe it's a quick change. Okay, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to change the belt. We're going to have you drop it at the next thing. Who knows? The anniversary show is right around the corner. Yep. So we could see some weird stuff there. Although, isn't the anniversary show title versus title usually? It's junior. So yeah. we need to sort out the junior thing then, because it's junior heavyweight versus heavyweight at that show. Usually. So I think you just give the title to El Phantasmo. He's certainly earned it, and we move on with our lives so that we can have a nice anniversary show.
I think a lot of juniors would have something to say about that show. Taichi Ishimori.
Okay.
Bushi.
That's probably true.
Master Wato, Ryusuke Taguchi.
I know Master Wato got a new T-shirt, so who knows? Maybe Rocky's busy on Filthy Island, poor guy.
Let's not talk about that
ever again.
Let's go to AEW. That's fun.
Okay.
As we roll into minute 29 of the podcast here, AEW's women's tournament. Last night we had to do. Let's see.
Yuka Sakazaki beat Emi Sakura with a roll-up win. Sakazaki looked good, magical girl, so she's going to be in the semis. And we had Ryo Mizunami beat Aja Kong. In
a finish.
Really interesting finish. Aja Kong took a leg drop on the outside of the ring to her neck on the apron, which looked pretty painful, and that 10 counted her out so that Ryo Mizunami won that match. So we're going to have Mizunami versus Sakazaki in the semis on Sunday, apparently.
Yes.
Which should be a good match.
Yes. So you have those two matches, the Yuka Sakazaki and Emi Sakura match. Emi Sakura took that entire match. Like, Yuka had almost no offense, and then she got that roll up, as you mentioned. It was kind of a modified crucifix, if I remember serving me correct. And then And then, there was a whole bunch of nonsense that included Sheeta that led to that count out, the second count out in AEW history.
Yep.
For Aja Khan. So they did announce this Wednesday we are going to have Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose in a semifinal match for the United States side of the bracket. That is going to happen on Wednesday. On Sunday, you've got Ryo Mizunami and Yuka Sakazaki. You have Thunder Rosa versus Riho. And you have a 6-woman tag match, which is Shida Mei Saruga and Rin Katakura versus Emi Sakura, Veni, and Maki Ito. So it's pretty confusing. But last night we had a women's title tournament on YouTube. Tonight we have Dark. Wednesday we have a tournament match, and then Sunday we finish out the tournament, and we should know who the finals are.
So I think the only thing that's confusing to me is if Britt doesn't end up winning this thing, based on the fact that they've given her the TV show 2 weeks in a row. This will be. It seems odd to me that they're going away from Thunder Rosa and Riho, and they can't find a way to chisel that into the show on Wednesday. Or
that's the main event for Sunday to kind of draw people in.
It's the main for Sunday, so the Sunday show should be good. I am 1,000 times more interested in seeing Ryo Mizunami win this than Yuka Sakazaki. I've seen her before. She's perfectly fine. She's a lovely wrestler, but I'm more interested in Ryo Mizunami and her opportunities at AEW. I'd love to see her in an AEW ring on live TV against Britt Baker is what my assumption is. But we'll see.
Well, here's the thing with Yuka and Britt. That's unfinished business.
Sure. It certainly is.
Britt Baker took liberties on Yuka right before the pandemic. Yuka came back and got a singles victory over Britt Baker. So really, for Britt Baker to step into the winning side of this tournament, I feel like getting that off her back, that loss erased from the record books, is important for her.
Yeah, I mean, I can picture. I think it was Yuka with the really bloody face after the one beat down from Britt. So
that's how that move got established. That lockjaw move for sure. Because the Magical Girl, she sold it like crazy.
She looked unmagical in that one.
Yes. So Dynamite this week is a little weird. Jake Hager versus Brandon Cutler, Jon Moxley versus Ryan Nemeth. Those are the two. I think we can pick the winner right away there.
Yeah, it feels a little darkish, and I talked to you about this, and I don't think I mentioned it on the show last week, but it feels very much like AEW is sort of setting up their shows to be more bottom up shows where you've got some slower matches in the bottom that are a little bit more predictable to kind of build their strong stars in front of a larger audience than maybe what we're seeing in Dark, because I don't think as many people are kind of paying attention. And I think what was part of the challenge with AEW before was their pay-per-views didn't look like pay-per-views as much because every single Dynamite looked like a pay-per-view.
Sure did. Yeah.
Stars. So even the undercard matches weren't really undercard matches, because if it was somebody that was a predictable match, they were bringing in the Acclaimed or Top Flight or somebody that looked really, really good to wrestle somebody else that was really good. So I think they're kind of going back to more standardized programming, and that's what we're seeing kind of with these first three matches. I mean, Cutler versus Hager, maybe something crazy happens for Cutler, but that's a Hager win to me. Moxley versus Nemeth, there's no chance that Nemeth is going to beat Moxley in that match. And then we got Starks Cage versus Varsity Blondes.
Same thing.
No chance, right? So,
and frankly, Hangman Page versus Isaiah Cassidy is going to go one way too. So there you got 4 matches. I do have a 7-match lineup here, so I think 2 of these matches are going to be lights out, fast matches.
Mm-hmm. And they'll probably give Archer and Phoenix a good amount of time. Ray Phoenix, I will say it to anybody that will listen, is the best in-ring talent in the world right now. In-ring talent, there's nobody that's a better wrestler in the world than Ray Phoenix is, and he showed it week after week the last couple of weeks. And if you haven't caught him, you're missing out. And I'll put him in the ring against anybody else, and he can go and outwork them all. He's amazing.
Excellent body control. Can do anything in the ring.
Just flawless. Such a treat.
Now I have FTR and Tully Blanchard versus Jurassic Express.
That's 3-3.
That's 3-3. Okay, so 3-3 we have.
Yeah, so that'll be your build to Revolution.
Yep.
And
then so we talked about Britt versus Nyla this Wednesday.
Yep.
We've got the Varsity Blondes, all that. The main event then is Ray Phoenix versus Lance Archer in a Face of the Revolution ladder match qualifier. So we already know it's Cody, Pentagon, and Scorpio Sky. And then it's going to be one of these 2 guys.
Right, and I think we got 6 men total. So what's that bring us to 4?
That brings us to 4.
So we'll have another one. We'll have one or two more matches on 3-3. Maybe they'll throw a dark match in, or maybe they'll do it as a pre-card match because that's a fine warm-up. So 6-man ladder match for TNT title shot against Darby Allin at some point. I would assume that these are all going to be crazy, and those entrants already tells me it's going to be a good match. And I'll obviously take Rey Fenix for the win on this one.
John Smith on last Thursday, he mentioned that he'd like to see Pac in this match, and I think that's wise.
I don't disagree with that either. So keeping things in mind, this 224 show is pre-taped. So the 3-3 is going to be a live show, and then we'll get to see that live, and then they'll do the pay-per-view. And then they'll probably go live the following week, then I assume, and then tape.
Yeah.
So this is a pre-taped show. So I could see them having enough time to get Pac back if he has left, and get him in the match. Yeah, ladder match with him is phenomenal.
The thing is, when you come to the United States, it's no problem getting into Florida. You don't have to quarantine ahead of time.
Right.
Pac comes in, he passes
the open arms.
COVID test, he can walk in that day.
Yep.
So going back is where he has to do the quarantine business.
And they said as well in this episode, Sting's going to appear. So hopefully he doesn't appear on a stretcher or wheelchair after taking that massive power bomb from Brian Cage. Somebody who's been a little bit missing, I guess, is Will Hobbs. I don't follow Dark, so maybe he's had some dark matches in that. So, but I have missed Will on the show beating on people. So hopefully we see him back in action too. It'd be nice to see him in the ladder match, just as a ladder match doesn't have to be all high flyers. It can be some juggernauts too. So I think that would be kind of a cool spot for him to get in, even if he doesn't do anything. And obviously if he does, then it plays all into the Tame Taz Darby Allin feud as well. So
the Tuesday night wars between AEW Dark and Impact Wrestling. Last week was great. Dark was 1 hour and 7 minutes or something. Still had 12 matches, but it was a short show. We're back up to 16 matches this week, so I think we're getting close to 2 hours again tonight. I've looked down through the card. A lot of stuff going on here, but the only one that looks competitive is Max Caster versus Marco Stunt. So
I don't know. I saw some other stuff. Who's Aaron Solo? I think is against somebody that I felt like that was a competitive match. There was I looking down through it briefly. I thought there was maybe like 3 coin flip matches in there. The Bear Country match I think was also compelling to me.
Well, it's Bear Country and then Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, so they're going to.
So they're going to win, yeah. And then I think some of the guys like Cody's coming out with one of the gals. He's going down to the ring with one of the gals in the women's match. So that was interesting to me too, whether they're bringing one of the girls over to the Nightmare Collective. It was not Red Velvet. It was somebody else. So I would assume she's going to win.
Nightmare Collective is something else.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's a whole other.
That's a whole other.
We'll forget about that.
Roads. Whole other roads.
Yeah, exactly.
On Impact tonight, we have, of course, Before the Impact that comes on directly against Dark. Which is weird considering they have this relationship. But you informed me before the show it's Falaba versus Johnny Swinger on BTI today.
Yeah, 2 guys that I could care less about. I assume this is Falaba for a marker chip to get back at Johnny Swinger's plastic Costco table so that he can play some more blackjack and lose.
Something like that.
He needs to win back what's his face's money that he invested in a poor way. So.
Yeah, Hernandez.
We
have Jake something versus Cody Deaner in a tables match. Then you have 2 matches with title implications. So Jordan Grace and Jazz are facing Kimberly and Susan. The winner is going to get a Knockouts Tag Team title match. And then the other one is Willie Mack, Trey, and Josh Alexander versus Ace Austin, Black Taurus, and Chris Bay. The winning team will then advance to a match next week where they compete against each other. And the winner of that match will get a shot at TJP's X Division Championship.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. TJP's beaten Trey Miguel and he's beaten Josh Alexander in the last 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Definitely Josh Alexander. I don't remember a singles victory.
So when I was looking at this match, I was like, boy, this looks like a 50-50. And then I was like, wait a minute, he just beat Alexander. So I felt more like the Austin, Chris Bay, Black Taurus side of the match feels stronger to me as the winner here, although I don't know, Black Taurus doesn't seem ultra compelling as your X Division champion, but I love Chris Bay and I like Ace Austin a lot. So,
well, I think I feel like they need to give it to Ace Austin just because he won the whole darn tournament. But
yeah, you certainly do.
Yeah. All right. I have a few news items to get into, so let's play the news. Today's news is brought to you by the free Body Slam Brigade newsletter. Each week, I compile the week's top wrestling stories, put them all into a quick read email that's divided up by company. Nearly 4,000 people are getting this newsletter each week. And in addition to the top stories, you'll also know everything that's going on with Minutes to Bell Time, including podcasts, games, anything else that's going on. The best way to make sure you don't miss anything. The issue comes out every Friday at 11 a.m. Ish. I've had some schedule issues lately, but it has always come out. So some of those news items: Shane Taylor Promotions, Shane Taylor and SOS defeated Mexa Squad to win the Ring of Honor 6-man championships during ROH TV that was a broadcast last weekend. So new 6-man tag champs. Also, Shane Taylor has a chance to become a double champion this weekend as he faces Roosh for the World Championship, the ROH World Championship. So
I don't see that happening for Shane, but congrats on the 6-man belts. That's great. That 6-man team is awesome. And if you've been sleeping on ROH, I know it's a weird time. Like for us locally, it's noon on Saturday or whatever. And just oddly enough, I happen to be doing laundry at that time, so I've probably caught ROH. I don't know, 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row, randomly. And I know it's on late at night too. The matches are good. It's good wrestling, guys. Like, it's not as much crazy stuff going on because honestly, I feel like the bell to bell only for the most part, other than some of their promo vignettes, has been really good. The promo vignettes are great. It's always the studio-ish stuff that's turned me off from ROH, and that's not in the mix anymore. So it's been pretty good for a little quick hour show.
Yeah, and ROH, their next big show is March 26th. It's their 19th anniversary. So all the titles will be on the line. It's still going to be a closed set, as far as I know, unless something crazy happens up in Maryland, but I doubt that's the case. So it'll be very much like their Final Battle show, which was in December. Mm-hmm. So, which, by the way, if Shane Taylor wins the World Championship, that means he'll be wrestling twice
in one night.
As well as Jonathan Gresham, who was the pure title champion and the tag team champion. So
that's true.
So there's a lot of potential for dual match.
Yeah, unless something happens with Davy Jones, he's got to wrestle twice no matter what. So we'll see.
Yeah. Sportsnet is expanding their relationship with WWE in Canada. Sportsnet already airs Raw and SmackDown, and now they will be airing NXT. They're also the exclusive partner for WWE Network in Canada. So similar to the NBC Peacock relationship with.
So they're going to be airing NXT as a regular live TV show.
Yep.
That's interesting.
They were not previously doing that. So
good for them.
MLW does not have a show this week. They will be airing a classic MLW show. They did announce their signature event, Never Say Never, will take place on March 31st in their normal 7 p.m. Wednesday slot. All the normal MLW Fusion distribution channels. So that's just going to be probably a monster show, kind of like the one they did around New Year's.
Maybe we'll see RVD.
Maybe. And then one final news item, Dark Side of the Ring, Confidential, will debut on March 9th. The special will feature Conrad Thompson interviewing series creators Evan Hunsley and Jason Eisner. Also, Dark Side of the Ring episodes for Season 3, which will be debuted later this year, include The Dynamite Kid, Brian Pillman, XPW, the WCW New Japan event in North Korea, The Smith Family, Grizzly Smith and his children, Jake Roberts, Sam Houston, and Rockin' Robin, Nick Gage, FMW in Japan, the late Bruiser Bedlam, and the late Chris Kanyon. Those are what we know so far for Dark Side of the Ring this year. And Travis, that is the conclusion of the news, which means it's your favorite time of the show.
Oh, hooray, trivia.
And well, let's just show everybody why it's your favorite time of the show. Trivia. Travis is 5 for 15. He has lost the month of February. This is just an exhibition at this point for him. There's no chance to catch.
I could tie.
But you can you could tie John Smith.
Tie for second place.
That's true. You could tie
And not for nothing, I'm in third right now.
Fair enough. You could tie
Don't
John
invite
Smith and
Al
Johnny
on the
Smith go
show
to
for the
the
next
USA.
week.
All
He'll
right.
get
Well,
5.
let's see how you do. It's February, and Kane, the Big Red Machine Kane, wrestled Vader on February 15th, 1998 at the WWE's February pay-per-view No Way Out of Texas. But since you prefer to talk about WCW, we'll do trivia based on WCW Superbrawl VIII, which took place 23 years ago yesterday.
Okay.
So we'll do 1998 WCW pay-per-view rather than the WWE pay-per-view. We'll see how you do. Okay, so this pay-per-view took place at this famed San Francisco arena. Was it A, Candlestick Park, B, the Cow Palace, C, Chase Center, or D, Levi Stadium?
The Cow Palace.
It was the Cow Palace. Thank God you didn't say Candlestick or Levi Stadium. Those are way too big for a
Candlestick is massive. I'm like, no, there's no chance that they decided to go where the 49ers go. Eric Bischoff's a little bit smarter than that.
Candlestick is the former home of the San Francisco Giants. Levi Stadium is the 49ers.
Oh, right. That's right.
So either one would have been not good.
Too big. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 1 for 1. This famous WCW tag team split up at this event. They were defending the tag team championships against the Outsiders, but one member of the team refused to tag into the match. What was the name of this WCW tag team? No multiple choice.
The Steiner brothers.
It was the Steiner brothers. You're 2 for 2. Now, I didn't explain the rules, but I think you probably know them at this point. But just in case we have a new listener, you're getting 5 questions, and a simple majority correct will get you the win. You've already got 2. If you win, you get our Goldberg Oscar Award, and if you lose, you get a Hawkins. So
I've never seen Goldberg on the award one time.
I think one time. Hang on. Right there. Boom. 1.
Okay.
The WCW World Championship was vacant. Who defeated Hulk Hogan to become champion that night? Was it Goldberg, Ric Flair, Sting, or Lex Luger? (1998) February.
Sting.
It was Sting. Sting defeated Hogan at Starrcade 97, but there was some business going on there which caused the title to become vacant. So Okay, 3 for 3. You've secured your win today, so congratulations. And John Smith is sweating right now, so
As he should be.
if you get a perfect here. So all right, well, let's move on. We have some undercard matches to talk about. Juventud Guerrero lost his mask. Juventud Guerrero. Don't want to confuse the families. Lost his mask in a mask versus title match for the Cruiserweight Championship. Who defeated Juvi, causing him to lose the mask? Was it Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, or Dean Malenko?
Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, Chris Jericho. Oh. 3 for 4. 3 for 4. Okay. And Chris Benoit challenged for the United States Championship but was not successful in defeating this champion. Was it A, Kurt Hennig, B, Ric Flair, C, Magnum TA, or D, Diamond Dallas Page?
Diamond Dallas Page. 4 for 5. Darn good. 1998, folks. Some of you weren't even alive then.
You
Is.
Congratulations. Haven't seen that in a few weeks.
It's in my wheelhouse. I probably watched that pay-per-view live.
I'm sure you did. I remember watching it myself. So, All right. So we're in the go home portion of the show. So let's bring up the chair shot. That's one way to end the show for sure. So the chair shot. Check out the new chair shot t-shirt. The chair shot is our featured shirt this month. $20. And I know I say it every show, but I really don't like paying $2.99 for a double XL. I really don't like paying $2.99 for a super soft style shirt. So when I put out this line, I said flat rate $20, no matter what. You're getting the soft style shirt, and you can get the upper sizes, 2X, 3X, whatever you are, for the same price.
Chair shots fired. Pro Wrestling Tees. Get on this. Soft shirt. Pay premium sucks.
It's pretty bad when you go for a $19.99 shirt that cost you $35 before you get done.
So it's $2 extra because I'm double XL, and it's another $3 because I want a soft one and one that doesn't feel like I'm putting on a concrete block every day. It's like, man, the fix is really in here. With as many soft shirts as I order, I gotta assume at this point they could do it a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Says the guy who paid $40 for this.
I never mentioned anything about Pro Wrestling Tees, but if they want to sponsor us, I'll still whatever. But that's one business practice I'm not a fan of. But one thing I am a fan of is the Primetime Rundown. Join Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca every Friday night for the Primetime Rundown. They take you through the world of sports. The show kicks off at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer every Friday night. Also, another thing I'm a fan of, the Essential Wrestling Podcast. It returns this Tuesday. Al Carl will be hosting. John Smith, John DeCani, myself, Gary Mahaffey will return for another week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. every Tuesday. It is your lead-in to any Impact Wrestling that you're watching. Will be done by 8, so you can definitely go from the Essential Wrestling Podcast right over to Impact Wrestling. Listen to the Essential Wrestling Podcast while you're having dinner, whatever you need to do. Our show, the Daily Wrestling News Show, returns tomorrow with John DeCani. We're having a blast with the Daily Wrestling News Show every week. Yesterday, I interviewed Coastal Championship Wrestling star and Southeastern champion Bugs Moran, so you can go get that on the YouTube or the archives or wherever you're listening or watching this. That was a fun interview. He has a lot of interesting road stories. Just did a trip to Nashville. This Friday, Gary Mahaffey and I will be releasing our interview with Georgia Smith, the daughter of the late Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog. We'll be talking about the upcoming Icons documentary. Should be a lot of fun. So definitely check out the Daily Wrestling News Show each and every day. You get the recaps, you get the news, and you get these awesome interviews.
Can we look forward to Gary Mahaffey talking about Progressive in the future now that they've fired that back up? I'd love to hear his take on those wrestlers.
Progress Wrestling. Chapter 104 was this past weekend. I believe Cara Noir successfully defended the championship. A little bit of controversy in the world of Progress news. I didn't have to bring that up in the news, but maybe tomorrow we will. So
you're going to have to tune in tomorrow, folks.
There you go. But I'll talk to Gary about that. Gary and I are currently in negotiations. He's a stiff negotiator, so
he's hard, but he does get you the numbers you need and the demos you want. So,
well, yeah. Last time he was on the show, first 2 minutes he's doing a double buy, and I mean, come on,
woo, big pop.
All right, that's our show for the day. Travis, anything? What match are you most looking forward to this week?
Obviously, we're going to go with the Kenta Moxley match for sure, followed closely by the ELP tag match. I think that'll be a really good one.
Okay, so Thursday, Friday for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's our show. Thanks, everybody, for watching, for listening, consuming the Daily Wrestling News Show. Appreciate you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Later.